NutraCast.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Whether you're selling a little or a lot, Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. From the launch your online shop stage, all the way to the we just hit 1 million orders stage. No matter what stage you're in, Shopify's there to help you grow. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/special offer, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/special offer.
There's a change happening in the way we live, the way we work, the way we spend our money and make our decisions. We are evolving to be more conscious in our actions in a way that serves the world and makes it a better place. Welcome to the Ethical Evolution. The Ethical Evolution podcast is brought to you by Ethical Change Agency. I'm Bindi, I'm the founder, and my mission is to help ethical entrepreneurs and holistic healers to find their voice through spiritual coaching and podcasting. I'm honoured to bring you the stories of those who create change through healing, kindness, innovation, purpose, and spirit. Understanding that to create collective change, we need to be the change. It all begins with us. Hey, before we get into this episode, I just wanted to let you know that you can now grab my album of guided meditations. It's called Sourced by Spirit, and it's on all streaming platforms, including Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, Tidal, YouTube Music, and many more. There's 11 guided meditations ranging from 4 minutes through to 10 minutes to help you reset your mind and your body at any time. Okay, now let's get on with the show. Jeralyn Glass is an internationally acclaimed singer, pioneering figure in the realm of sound healing, creator of the Source app, and author of Sacred Vibrations, the transformative power of crystalline sound and music. Before becoming one of the foremost leaders in the world of holistic healing through music as medicine, Jeralyn got her start in the theatre and Broadway and graced opera and concert stages across Europe and around the globe. Later, she founded Crystal Cadence, a dedicated sound healing studio housing the Los Angeles Crystal Tone Singing Bowl Temple of Academy. Her work in the field of sound has had a tremendous impact on mental health, cancer, and hospice patients, as well as children and veterans. Following the tragic loss of her only son, Jeralyn decided to write her book, Sacred Vibrations, as a guide to engaging music as medicine and how the power of sound can serve to transform us. Sacred Vibrations guides readers on their journey of integration and wholeness through actionable tips, relaxing and effective meditations accessible through QR codes, wisdom from leading scientists, esteemed colleagues, and more. A revered educator in her field, Jeralyn has shared the stage at science and spirituality conferences with esteemed authors and thought leaders, and is a force to be reckoned with. I hope you enjoy experiencing the singing bowl performance from Jeralyn in this episode as much as I did. Welcome, Jeralyn, to the Ethical Evolution.
Thank you very much, Bindi, for your kind invitation.
You are so welcome, and I'm a bit jazzed that you're with me today, and you have a whole raft of singing bowls behind you for those who are not watching. But for those who have been living under a rock and don't know who you are, can you go ahead and tell us who you are and what you do?
Yes, I can. So I began my career as a singer. I started in musical theater, so I was on Broadway, and then I had a deep calling to go into classical music. So I attended Juilliard, and then I went to Europe, where I lived for 20 years, and sang all kinds of things from Mozart and Bach and Beethoven to Puccini, and then also, of course, Gershwin, and so a wide range of musical theater and classical music, which is my great love, all of it. And then I came to the singing bowls 18 years ago now. So I've been playing them for 18 years, and it wasn't until 9 years ago when I lost my beloved son, my only child, 19 years old, that sound and music really became my medicine. And then I dove quite deeply into the singing bowls, and they helped facilitate healing for me. And then I began to share them, and here we are. So, yeah.
Absolutely incredible. And I always love to speak with someone who is involved in sound, vibration, energy, healing of any kind, because those who are regular listeners would know that I've had several years' experience with sound healing in all its forms, and it just absolutely fascinates me. Let's take it back to where you found the healing in sound and vibration. Where was that moment for you?
Well, if we really take it back, Bindi, then I would say when I was a little girl, I remember probably 3 or 4 years old, holding on to a little pole on our porch and twirling around and singing and feeling this deep connection to what I named God at that time. As a child, it felt like there was a beautiful, calming, loving presence that I could feel when I sang. And I got a very strong message: music's going to be your life's path. I mean, I had this knowing as a little child that I was going to go into music, and that is indeed how my life unfolded. So music always was to me a place of refuge. So my very first professional role was Mary Magdalene in Jesus Christ Superstar. And I remember sitting at the feet of the actor who played Jesus and singing I Don't Know How to Love Him, and feeling this, I'm not sure I can put it in words, and that's sort of where music itself crosses into the field of healing, feeling this sense of sublime connection that music went far beyond what I could express with words. There was a feeling, every cell of me, every pore of me, every piece of me was vibrating. And that was just the beauty of and the power of music itself. And then later when I came to the sound bowls, I fell in love with the sound of them. At that point in time, I wasn't thinking of using them as a healing instrument, because really music in all its facets was healing for me. But I just remember when I heard them, it was like, oh, I need to purchase some of those, because it was as if they awakened in me a song that I knew. Like I knew the sound of it. It was very ancient, and it I can't put it in words either. It vibrated something where I just found like, this is so beautiful. And then I started using them. I'm also a professor of singing. I started using them with my students, and I used them with my young son, who was 7 at the time, and he loved them. He would say, Mommy, bring me to bed with my sound blanket. So he loved that feeling of the sound. And it wasn't until later, after he passed, that I began to discover them as really profound instruments of transformation and healing. So I think that's a beautiful question. And I think that I always understood music takes us beyond words. I like to say that it takes us into the ineffable. It's this beautiful place of connection to all that is. It's unity. It's the universal language of the human heart. So that just expanded as I got deeper into it, into sound as a healing modality.
I love that. And in previous episodes, I've had other sound healers. I've had recording artists. I've had rock musicians as well. Where we've talked about the science of music and the physiology impact that it has on us. You could go to, I don't know, a rock concert. Doesn't necessarily have to be sound healing, and you can walk away from that, and the elation that you have when you walk out, aside from feeling a little bit deaf, is it moves you to a whole different place in terms of your energy, your mood, just how you feel in general. But then when we get into the deeper science of using tools like singing bowls or drums or gongs or any of those kind of things, they get down to a cellular level where they actually can change what's in those cells and how they feel in our body. And that, to me, that just blows my absolute mind. Like, I've experienced it firsthand, and it is like one of those things you just like, I've got to have these for myself. So I've actually bought my own singing bowls and got my own tuning forks, all these kind of things, so that I can tap into that too anytime I want to. It's just one of those things. Once you experience it and can experience healing from it, it's something that you always want to have in your arsenal, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It really is. And as you just said, whether like I started out many, many years ago when I was touring as a classical singer, like we did a tour of the Ninth Symphony of Beethoven and an opera excerpt concert, and I had little Himalayan metal bowls, and I would travel with those. I would put one on my belly, and I would just lay down, relax, do my breathing exercises, and play the bowl on my belly, and it was something that comforted me. It was something that, what I would say now, it quickened me. It brought me to this real strong place of quickening and presence where everything was flowing, and I experienced myself as a human instrument.
And so when we look at the different bowls that you've got, Jeralyn, they're all different sizes, shapes, but they all have different notes, don't they?
Yes,
and
they
different
do.
sounds.
And different tunings.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So
different tunings, yes.
can you tell us a bit about that and how they work?
Sure. So the particular set that I chose that's on the table today, that is a set, I call it a mini bowl orchestra, that is tuned to the musical tuning of 432 hertz. So, if we want to get into all that, music today is normally tuned to 440 hertz, and that's referring to the A note. So that when you go to an orchestra concert, the concert master will play an A, which is actually exactly 440 hertz, and then the rest of the orchestra will tune to that. So in sound, you can use different tunings. This particular one is lower than music today. So, there's a lot of talk about that. Does that actually ground you more? We talk about that's a more earth-connected tuning. Well, I found in my years now working with sound as a healing modality that all tunings are good, and whether I take 432 hertz tuning or 440 music today, and of course that's necessary, like if I'm playing a song and I'm playing with other instruments, then I need to be tuned to music today because, for example, the piano normally can't be tuned to 432 hertz in some cases, yes, and then there's another tuning that's quite often, which is called 528 hertz. So I think the fascinating thing, which I'm sure you know from all your studies and work, is that there's no one size fits all. Just like there's no one medicine that's going to be the cure for this particular thing. Every single human body is different. And we have to find, do I want to hear, I don't know, do I want to hear Fly Me to the Moon, or do I want to hear Pharrell's Happy? What music do I want to listen to? What do I love to hear? It's different for everybody. And I think that's what's so important, that we understand that music is a balm, music is a medicine that for each of us will be different. And today I might like to hear 432 hertz, and tomorrow I might like to hear something else. The notes that I chose for today are based on, in music, the notes that comprise the musical key of F. And in sound healing, F is normally known as the key of the heart. F is the note of the heart in the Western system. So I thought that would be something very nice, and I added in there something that we call a beat frequency. So it's, if we were in a laboratory and you could isolate the sounds, one of the notes you'd hear in the right ear, one in the left ear, and they would be making a binaural beat. But since we're here like this, we call it a beat frequency. So that's kind of what I love to share as a shimmering sound. And it does this to your system. And for me, that brings a lot of focus and concentration. And then I like to play the bowls in a certain manner, meaning that I'll use the structure of music. If you've had different musicians and you know yourself, then I love to use the sound of the perfect fifth, musical interval, etc. So there's a lot of science that goes behind what we're doing. It's not just a random, striking of bowls. And there's a lot out there that's not in tune. And for me, especially as a classical musician, it needs to be a harmonic structure that I feel safe to deeply relax into, right? So if something is discordant, you kind of go, oh, that doesn't feel good, right? So it's really like playing an instrument. And like I said at the beginning, when I found them, I wasn't thinking of them like that. I just thought the individual sounds were so beautiful. But once you start to put them together and create sets, or an orchestra, like there's over 500 bowls here in the studio. I love to put together sets that match each individual client or person that wants to learn sound healing and play them, because just like us, every single singing bowl is one of a kind. Every single instrument is one of a kind. And we want to find what really matches our vibrational frequency, our vibrational signature. And of course, that changes, as you know, as we develop and change, that changes. But it's what feels good to you. That's what matters.
And one thing I've noticed recently, not just medicine, but also music itself is moving towards a greater understanding of, vibration and frequency. There's actually an artist that I follow, and he's by no means classical or healing by any means, but he's done a lot of delving into frequencies and music and all that kind of stuff. His name's Abel Hart. I think he's based down in Miami. And he's actually started to create tracks that are certain frequencies for different things. So there's one song he's done which is all around manifestation. And he's done the lyrics all around manifestation, and the tuning of the song is to a particular hertz to match. And he's done a whole range of these. And they're actually having an impact for people because subconsciously, like when they're listening to it, they're taking on that frequency and that vibration. And this is, again, coming back to how music impacts us. Just by listening to it, it can change our heartbeat, it can change our mindset just from listening to it. So this is modern day music. This is stuff that's on TikTok that is now, taking frequencies into the way they construct music. It's just fascinating.
And it's really, it is. And it's really been an age-old art that has been proven, goes back up to with the ancient Aborigines 80,000 years ago, and in ancient Egypt in the different temples. They used sound. There were sound healing chambers. So sound and vibration as a medicine is not new. Every culture integrated some kind of music, some kind of rhythm, some kind of chant in their daily lives. Music is something that accompanies us in all the great moments of our lives, celebrations, birthdays, weddings, baptisms, whatever. Music is something that, again, every human being can understand. And I think what you were saying with, I'm not familiar with his work, so I'll make sure to check that out. When we set an intention, so Jonathan Goldman, the very well loved, one of the pioneers in sound healing, came up with an equation many, many years ago that intention plus frequency plus intention equals healing. So when we set an intention and we use a particular frequency, that can absolutely transform. And we've seen the production of cortisol, boops, releases, it stops, fight or flight goes away. There's a higher production of dopamine, which brings more leukocytes to the blood. There are definitely scientific things that have been proven now about how sound affects us on the physical level. We're involved, the Sacred Science of Sound, the organization I created, and we're involved with the Minerva Institute, which is in San Francisco, and it's been named 2 years in a row as the most innovative university in the world. And we have created a science, music, health, and wellness lab to really research, especially the bowls, because there really is no real research on the singing bowls, certainly on the crystal singing bowls. So I think the more that we collaborate, science, medicine, doctors, research, and musicians, it's going to be only very inspiring and helpful for humanity.
Yeah, and, I don't know if it's just me, Jeralyn, and the circles that I run in, but I am seeing this being as a more widely accepted and even trending in some circles, singing bowls. I'm now seeing young women in their 20s really getting into this stuff, and it's really trending in those circles. And I don't know if it's just the people that are surrounding me or whatever it is, but I'm seeing more of it, and it's becoming more widely accepted.
Yes, it is. Because I think as a culture, as cultures, we have so many things that are very disturbing in our lives, or so many things that get us off balance or things that trigger us. And we need to find personal ways of coming to an inner peace. And for many people, meditation, like silent meditation, traditional meditation, is challenging. But give them some music or sit them down and have them experience a sound bath. This is a whole nother thing, because what I always say is that, certainly with the crystal singing bowls, they give your mind a point of focus. And it's like what I described when I first heard them. It was like, oh, wow, that's music. But it was music that had all kinds of overtones, and then it was crystalline in nature. So later I came to understand that our bodies are crystalline in structure from our bones and our blood, and so we're able to receive the sounds very easily. And so that form of sound is something that helps us being immediately to come to that still point, land inside ourselves, and anchor in a deeper sense of peace and trust and acceptance. So that for me is truly a modern medicine. That no pill can give us that. It really can't.
And just looking at the both of us, we are lit up because we're super excited about this stuff. But we were chatting off air, and I was telling you about my sound healer, Amanda Mackay. Hello to Amanda if you're listening. And a while back, we used to do a podcast together, and we were in the studio here one day, and we were recording some singing bowls. And as a music producer, I was like absolutely blown away to watch the sound waves as they recorded, because they were literal waves that you could just watch that singing bowl output. And I just was just fascinated to watch those waves, like take that sound and make it a visual thing, and actually see how that sound works. Like it was a full 360 for me. I was just like, I was so in it. It was so cool.
So when we were recording the album Vibrance, which I made in 2020, I was in a big recording studio in Los Angeles, and we were recording the bowls separately. There's vocals and spoken meditation in that album, but I'll never forget the sound engineer, because on the screen on the recording table, you could see that when the bowls played, they were in perfect geometric forms.
Yes.
So it was either like a figure eight,
yes,
or like right. They were all perfect forms. So he called in from the other studios. He called in the other engineers, and he was like, "You have to see this." He had never seen anything like that. And I asked him, "What does it normally look like?" And he said, "Chaos. Like there's no perfect forms. Perfect circle, perfect oval, and just like that." And then I went further after that with a dear friend who's become a dear friend, the acoustic scientist John Stewart Reed. He lives in England, and John created something called a cymoscope. And the cymoscope, what it does is it makes the sound visible. So we've done some research work on 9 different F bowls. Okay, so the notes, and actually one of the bowls is on the table that we did the research on. And you can see the perfect figures like a snowflake, and each one is different, So you can see the visuals of that. That's actually, we have an app from the Sacred Science of Sound called Source, which is coming out very, very soon. It'll be out in April, where we show those. So you can actually see, wow, this is the shape of sound. And then if we imagine that our bodies are 70% water, and that shape as the bowls are being played is being really amplified and present in the fluids of our body, then you can imagine it brings harmony on a very deep level.
And my mind's just my mind's just going down this path of sacred geometry, and how that then connects to the shapes of sound.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind. I love that stuff.
I know there's so much. So there's I don't have that set on the table, but there's something called a pentatonic scale.
Yep.
Okay, so that's let's see if I can show you that. Okay, so that's the 5 black notes on the piano. So there's bowls that that are those notes. And when I was living in Germany, they discovered in, I think, 2008, they discovered these tiny bird bone flutes. And many of those bird bone flutes, they estimated, were 40 to 60,000 years old. They were tuned to a pentatonic scale. So there we talk about, Leonardo da Vinci's Vitruvian Man, the five-pointed star, and all that stuff that's just, without getting too far off, but pentatonic, 5 notes, the scale that you just heard. There's so much to say about the structure of music and how music, once again, can hold us in a very steady, safe container so that, as you said earlier, like you go to a concert and, you're just in bliss because something's happened from the music. Now, when we're in a sound healing environment, of course, it's not like quite like that, but it's giving us this safety to breathe and feel and to be our own healers.
It's incredible. Yeah.
It is. I mean, there's so much science to go into and structure and music to go into, but when I think about working like with cancer patients, and when I started my path really using the bowls in a therapeutic manner and understanding, okay, how does that work? And I was able to take all my years of being a professional musician and put that into the bowls, and then recognizing, wow. And the cancer patients, I mean, we had incredible experiences. There were 3 different occasions where I was playing different sets of bowls. On 3 different occasions, 3 women who had had mastectomies remarked afterwards, just incredulous, my breast is back. I'm whole again. I'm not missing any part of me. And they all said it in their own words, Bindi, but it was like sound gave them the experience of being whole again. And when we ask ourselves, what is healing? What is it when we have a disease or when our heart gets broken and it's shattered? What is it that helps us knit ourselves back together? What is the essence of healing? Again, it's not a pill, right? And so if we learn, as you have been, doing for years now, to integrate music and sound and vibration as a healing modality into our lives, it brings a whole nother level of being able to be in joy, being able to experience love, being able to experience happiness, and just acceptance no matter what has happened in our lives.
I think it's the antidote for everything, like I know times here when I'm in the studio creating music, I know I was working on a recent track with my nephew who's 18, and like just the joy we had in that moment was incredible. Like, and we could have just stayed in that forever. So when you're really creating something magical, it's I think it's the vibration of it, but it's also that, I don't know, there's something to it that has a unity about it. It brings us together.
Yes.
As one.
And time stands still.
It does.
So you could put those moments with your nephew and just treasure that joy and that creativity and that passion and that collaboration, the spirit of collaboration that you experience, and that can warm your heart for years. It becomes then a cellular memory, I think, because music, we don't just hear with our ears. We experience music. It goes really in every cell of us. So, what a beautiful thing to share with your nephew, besides just the creativity and the passion of it. But it's a moment that you'll both treasure forever.
The message I just got then, Jeralyn, was we hear with our hearts.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Now, little birdie's told me that there's a few celebrities around town who are loving your stuff. Spill the tea.
I love to be in situations where it's very unexpected and somebody who is very well known experiences the singing bowls and just has sublime experience, because, and many times it's quite unexpected. So one woman that I just absolutely adore is Lauren London. And I met Lauren at an event that I was playing at for another A-lister. And when she experienced the sound bath, she was just, she had a lot to say. And then afterwards we worked together. She's experienced a number of sound baths. And she's like, you've spoiled me. I don't want to go to any other sound bath. But we've talked about what really happens. And she lost her beloved partner, Nipsey. And music has been something that's really, really soothed her, because once again, whether you change your diet or you go on an antidepressant or, whatever it is you do, nothing's going to get into that place of where your heart's broken, right? And no matter who you are, no matter how famous you are, no matter how much money you have or whatever it is that makes the glory, whether it's a well-known athlete, I was able to play for some well-known athletes too, and it's like, it doesn't matter. In the core of us, we're all the same, and music will touch us no matter who we pray to, no matter who we vote for, no matter anything in our lives. Music is truly the universal language.
And that's absolutely it. We are one, and no matter how famous we are or not, it's all the same. Sound impacts us the same way, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah, I have the pleasure to collaborate with Janae Aiko, who is a well-known popular singer, and we've integrated bowls into her pop music. And it's so wonderful to hear her fans say this has been really healing. So it's a combination in her case of her exceptional voice, the vibrational frequency signature that she has. She has a beautiful ability to create words that are very meaningful. So in her pop album, she had Chilombo, she had something called a triggered song that is really all about when we get just so triggered and we don't know what to do. And then we created a triggered protection mantra. So how do you calm down your nervous system? How do you get yourself when you just, how do you get yourself out of that fight or flight and that rage, which is so important for all of us, right? So it's been beautiful to watch her, help her hold space with the bowls, and then watch what has grown out of her unique gifts. And I think more and more singing bowls will go into music. I see them I've recorded myself 2 classical arias with them, and it's a beautiful thing. So it doesn't matter what style of music it is. It's something that holds a space of, I'm just going to name it, sacredness. In our music, yeah.
And, a lot of things like singing bowls and also more tribal sort of based instruments are starting to make their way into mainstream music as well. And Jeralyn, I'm gonna drop an exclusive with you here today. I've been dropping it on socials for a little while, but my album comes out next Friday. So look out for it. It's called Sourced by Spirit. And it is, I think there's 11 now guided meditation tracks on there, all created from scratch by myself right here in the studio. So each one has its own purpose, all under 10 minutes, so you can fit them into your day, nice and easy. Look at me doing my marketing spiel. But you can grab...
It's beautiful, Bindi.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. We need it. And again, it's just so very needed.
And you can grab that anywhere, Spotify, Apple, wherever. And you are also an author, aren't you, Jeralyn?
Yeah.
Tell us about the book.
Pardon?
Tell us about the book.
Well, the first thing we created was this Oracle deck. So I don't know if you know that.
Yes.
That came out last year. It's Crystal Sound Healing Oracle. So this was my first project with Hay House. Hay House is also in Australia. So it's got a beautiful guidebook.
Gorgeous.
There's 48 cards in there. But the cool thing was that my son inspired me we put QR codes on the front of the cards.
Yep.
And so when you draw your card, you can put your phone on the QR code and then you're taken to the recording of the bowl.
Oh, so that's a great idea.
Yeah, it was the first of its kind. So that came out last year, and now the book, which is called Sacred Vibrations, The Transformational Power of Crystalline Sound and Music, that's coming out in July. So I'm very excited. It just went to print now, and it's been a journey, a 2-year journey. Of course, a longer journey than that, but it basically shares about music, the power of music, what it means to be a musician. So how important it is to learn to be present in the moment. Then it talks about the science and the history of sound, and then specifically about the singing bowls, and then all the miracles of communication that have happened through sound and vibration with my angel son. So it's yeah, I'm very excited about that, and we also have this app called Source. I had created an educational platform called the Sacred Science of Sound, where I do over 120 hours of training on the crystal bowls and working with each of us as a unique instrument, and how do we tune our own bodies, because those are the things that are playing the bowls. So if I'm not in tune and I go to play the bowls, it won't be pretty,
Yeah.
right? So, how do you do that? And I'm very proud about that. That has 20 visualizers on it. So we have visualizers like Victor Wooten has won 5 Grammys. He's a renowned bass player. We have Eileen McCusick is on it, so she's doing things with the tuning forks. We have a little child on it that's leading a children's meditation.
Oh, wow.
There's actually a little surprise of one of my students' daughters that's Australian that created a little song for us called "Listen to the Bowls and You'll Be Happy." It's
Oh, wow.
so sweet. Dr. Daniel Levitin's on it, who's award-winning neuroscientist, New York Times best-selling author. So there's 20 different visualizers, and the idea was that what is it, Bindi, that connects us? What would connect Dr. Levitin? Dr. Sue Morter is on it. Lee Harris is on it. Energy reader. Dr. Sue is a pioneer in bioenergetics. Like, what is it that connects us? And what does that have to do with healing? What does it have to do with all of us? And that is that language of sound vibration and music as an energy medicine, as a true healing modality, a true connector for all of us. So I conceived it as a place where we could learn and explore. So it's a place that you can be curious about, well, what does Dr. Dan Levitin have to say about neuroscience? So he did a documentary film where he examined Sting's brain.
Wow.
And, what does all this have to do, and how, just what we're talking about, like how can you and I, John Stewart Reed is on it. So he shows the CymaScope images and talks about the importance of sound and sound made visible. And he's doing lots of experiments with how sound and music can really make our blood cells more and more prolific, bringing more vitality and health. So and then there's sound baths and just healing music. I'm very excited about this, the app, the book, the card deck, and how I can help to bring this music and sound as a really presence in all of our lives. And, whether I just learn, okay, Jonathan and Andy Goldman are on it, so they do some exercises about humming, whether I just recognize, okay, I'm going to the dentist, I'm very frightened of what might happen there, so I know to put my hand on my heart and on my belly and just and I start activating my own hum. And what can that do as I move sound vibration through my own body? What can that do to calm me? What can that do to keep me out of fight or flight? And also in the book, there are 7 downloadable meditations that we made, as we talked about earlier, in the different tunings, so that you can really hear, okay, so here's 10 minutes of 432. Oh, that's 432 hertz. That's interesting. Now here's 10 minutes of 528 hertz. Okay, that feels really different to me. And on some days you might say, I'd like to listen to that meditation, and on other days, the other one. So there's so much. I think there's so much for us, but I'm just very excited to have been led to Hay House and be able to have this opportunity to share on this level.
I can't wait to check out that app. It sounds incredible. And, for the everyday person at home who's listening to this and they're thinking, oh, look, I don't know if this is for me. Really, it's for anyone. It really is, because it's really about taking just a moment of time for yourself. We all live busy lives. It's really just taking a moment and a breath to relax your nervous system, calm down a little bit, and just be for a moment and actually just let all the other stuff go. If you can at least make that space for yourself, this stuff is for you.
Yeah, and again, every human being, I think, it likes music of some kind, whether it's simply just, whether it's something rhythmic, whether it's something melodic. But I think, and as I said it a moment ago, like if we think of ourselves as a singing bowl, if we think of ourselves as a vibrating human instrument, which we are, there are definitely times we get out of tune. There are definitely times where life gives us surprises that we go, I don't know about that one, right? And how do we tune ourselves? And just simply by using a hum, and everyone can hum. People say people have a lot of woundings around singing, that they've been told you can't keep a tune, don't sing, but everyone can hum. Everyone. And that's just a very, it's just a very calming thing, even if you do that for 1 minute.
And you would never have an idea how many people say to me, I can't stand the sound of my own voice. And I'm like, it's the only one you got, so stick with it. Because our voice can be so profound as a sound and a vibration. It really can.
But it's also our identity, So when you say, I don't like the sound of my own voice, that's usually laced with something in the past where somebody said, do you have to speak with that tone, or whatever people have said to you.
Exactly.
It can start in your early childhood. But your voice is you. It's your vibrational signature. So if I don't like that, I'm giving myself a big, strong message that I don't like myself. And we all know now that doesn't work. I can't really be in relationship with people. I can't feel at peace. I can't feel like I can contribute in my life if there's not some sense of love, self-love, and self-acceptance.
And I think I drive people crazy because I absolutely love the sound of my voice, and so does everybody else. And yeah, you're going to hear more of it. Sorry.
Oh, no, don't apologize. And I remember when I was first starting in all of this sound healing, and I would say to my mom, like, Mom, what has happened to this classical singer and this professor that I'm now playing these crystal singing bowls? I'm talking to my son who's on the other side. I must have lost it. What has happened? And she'd say, no, dear, you're really helping a lot of people. Just stick with it, because it is a woo-woo world, and it's not a woo-woo world. There's so much science and structure behind it, and at the same time, it takes us beyond that structure, again, into that place of the sublime where there are no words. So it's how do we accept that I'm going to be in the finite and I'm going to connect to the infinite, that I'm going to be in the body and I'm going to be in spirit, and I think that's one of the gifts of life, is that we have the innate ability to see beyond ourselves and beyond this physical plane. I'm sure where you live, you go out and you look at the starry night and you're just like, whoa, you're in wonder, you're in awe, right? And can we explain that? And can we hear like a vibration? Yes, there is that. Everything has a vibration if we tune into it.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. Now, Jeralyn, if people are as excited about this stuff as I am and everything you've got to offer, where can they go and find you?
Well, our main website is Crystal Cadence, crystalcadence.com, and that kind of has everything on it. So it has the card deck, it has what I'm teaching, we have a members portal. So we have a large group of people who we meet monthly, and there's all kinds of things in the members portal, guest speakers and meditations and community, so live interaction. So that's one thing. And then our social handle, Instagram, is Crystal Cadence LA. I have not been big on TikTok, working with Threads, same thing, Crystal Cadence LA, and not big on Facebook either. So I think those are really the main things, main places. And then my music, of course, is on Spotify and Apple Music, etc. We have a couple of albums, and some with songs and some with just crystalline music. So, and then we have a YouTube channel, which is also Crystal Cadence by Jeralyn Glass. And on the YouTube channel is a big library. I started, I guess, in 2018 doing something called Tune Up Tuesdays, which was just offering free meditations to different themes, like as you were describing the young man that you described. So all that is free to the public. So I encourage you to check out the YouTube channel, Crystal Cadence. And yeah. And the app will be out soon. The app source will be available. So
I've been checking you out on Instagram, and you've been bringing the singing bowls there as well. So, if you get a chance, follow Jeralyn and check out her work. Thanks. Now, you've got this collection of singing bowls behind you, which you're going to give us a little performance today. What are you going to do for us?
So as I said, let me explain to you. So this set is in the musical key of F, okay? So, and I really based it first on this big, beautiful bowl, which is a grounded A sharp. So A sharp or B flat for those of you who are musicians, but in the world of the singing bowls, we always name the black notes sharps. So this is frankincense. So the alchemy is frankincense, which evokes just ancient healing, the gifts of the Magi. It's got Saint Germain inside it, so that's a big element of transformation and transmutation. So each of these singing bowls has what we call a different alchemy, which is substances that have been infused into the pure quartz and then fired at high temperatures. This little one, which is the highest bowl on the table, that's celestite. So this is the second highest bowl. This little one is citrine. And there's so much richness to share about the bowls themselves. Again, and what's important to understand is I can share with you, okay, this bowl is Andara. It's made of a green volcanic stone. It's about burning away anything that's not of loving presence. It's very heart-oriented. However, the note is at the root chakra, so it's going to feel very grounding to you when you hear that sound. And then what I shared with you before, we're going to hear this sound. This is that beat frequency, just so it's not surprising to you. How do you like that, Bindi?
That's gorgeous.
So I love this kind of sound. You can make it in many different ways, but I like to call that a shimmering sound. And once again, it helps to bring balance and clarity and focus. So
wow, that really resonates, doesn't it?
it's a beautiful sound. So I'll just play a little bit and invite everybody to, if you can, not if you're driving the car, but if you can, close your eyes and take some long, deep breaths. If you're listening outside and you're in nature, all the better too. But this will be a time to just come into your heart. This set is really about the heart, and as you so beautifully said, Bindi, the heart is listening. The heart is receiving. The heart is our ears. Okay? All right, that's enough said. So here we go. Take some long, deep breaths. And then I invite you to set an intention. What would you like from the sound? What's been up for you? What's something you want to let go of or transform? feeling how it feels when you're safe, when you feel loved. And let's nurture that space of unconditional love. It's warm, it's tender. It brings stability. Gently inviting you to bring the palms of your hands together and rubbing them to generate heat. Becoming even more aware of the energy that you are. And you can gently place your hands over your eyes, feeling the warmth there. And acknowledging our ability to see light in the darkness, to vision, to allow our intuition. And then I invite you to gently bring your hands to your heart. And as the sound comes now to silence, just know that in that stillness, there is always sound vibration. And that sound vibration is music. And that music is love. And that love is you. Well, thank you very much.
Jeralyn, that was magnificent. Thank you so much for that. That was incredible.
My great joy.
Now, before I let you go, I have to ask you the big question, like I do everyone. What's the change you'd like to see in the world, and how can we bring it to life?
It's a great question. I would like to see that there is more love. And I think just at the essence of this mini meditation and the recognition that we are energy, we are vibration, we can set an intention, we can move as love in motion. I think the more that we accept our own voices, the more that we accept and love ourselves, that we begin to walk in that frequency where we are not mean, we're kind, we're compassionate. And I know, Bindi, that makes a difference. I know that when I can come to that place in myself, even if I'm angry or upset about something, where I can find that place in a few short minutes, I make a difference. And I see it in all my students. I see it in all the practitioners that are out in the world. I see it in my colleagues and friends, that if we can maintain what that feels like to be an instrument of peace, an instrument of vibrating love, that we are changing the world. And that's what I'd like to see. We need that to still the hatred and the things that divide us. And music is it, as we've talked about this whole beautiful session.
And Jeralyn, you're an absolute blessing and a reminder in this episode for us all to be that every day. Thank you so much for being a part of the change and being a part of the ethical evolution.
Thank you, Wendy, for all you do. And I can't wait to hear your music.
Thanks for listening to the Ethical Evolution podcast. If you're ready to be the change and would love to work with me on finding your voice through spiritual coaching or creating your own podcast with impact, visit ethicalchangeagency.com. If you're enjoying the show, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's growing every day with great content and highlights you may not have heard on the podcast. In addition, please subscribe to the podcast on Spotify or Apple, and why not leave a 5-star review? If you're not following me on social media, you can find me at Ethical Change Agency on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook and YouTube, and at DJ Bindi on TikTok and Instagram. If you're interested in diving deeper into the ethical evolution with me, I've created a membership program that allows me to bring you more in-depth exclusive content without relying on paid ads. My goal is to deliver members way more value than the cost of the subscription. Benefits include Ask Me Anything episodes. I've interviewed hundreds of people from around the world, so imagine what you could ask. Access exclusive bonus content only for members that focuses on the downloads I get through my conversations that include actionable tips. Support Ethical Change Agency and the Ethical Evolution podcast on its mission to amplify change makers who make the world a better place. Access to global connections who can help you make greater impact in the world. Meditate with me, and discounted spiritual coaching or podcast consulting with me at 15% off. That value alone pays for your membership. For only $7 a month or $70 a year, you can access all these benefits of an Ethical Evolution Emergence membership. If you want to learn more and access these benefits, head on over to ethicalchangeagency.com.
Welcome to Ringside with Ray and Prince. My name is Ray Leonard Jr.
Oh, is that the set? No, that's just my dad.
My name is Prince Daniels Jr.
Daniels again with a big home touchdown.
On this show, we come to humanize
Athletes, entertainers, business executives. We're going to see what makes them tick.
Tuesdays, 10 a.m. Pacific time on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and wherever you get your podcasts.
We'll see you there. Peace and power.
Electric acid. Hi, I'm Lessa Cadet, host of her Extraordinary Life by Design podcast, where we celebrate women who are shaping their lives one extraordinary day at a time. I speak with women from all over the world about what they do and how they are passionately pursuing their dreams and creating meaningful impacts on their communities. So come join us and learn about all there is to learn about these extraordinary women. Electric acid.